Webinar is now streaming live on YouTube, apparently. It's preparing to live stream.
There it is.
Okay.
So now we have to share the link.
Now, Luna, I'm going to send you something on Discord. Can you check there's audio on this and you can hear Daniel? Sure. And also, don't say anything because people are here, apparently.
I can hear you whispering.
Everyone can hear me whisper. All right, guys. Sorry for the delay. It's good. Daniel, say something.
Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. ABC.
Cool. All right, turn it off. Thank you. Maybe put your phone on silent as well. Okay, let's add everyone on that one.
Are you going to share just the PowerPoint presentation? Because right now you can see everything.
Yeah. I'll do this, and I think you can just see the PowerPoint presentation.
That's it. You're good.
Great. Now I'll take this and bring it over to my other screen. It's muted. I can see the live chat, and I can also see Discord most likely if I.
You can see the live chat on YouTube.
Yeah. And I also want Discord going, so I'm just gonna pop out live chat. There it is. Bring it over here, and we're good to go. Sorry, guys, it's a little less punctual. Google's removed everyone's favorite live streaming tool, Hangouts on Air, so it's kind of difficult to get a live stream up and without messing around with OBS, for example. But okay, looks like we're here. So let's do it from the top. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another live meeting, the first one of 2020. I'm here joined with Daniel Keller, as you all know, and we're here on Saturday, January 18th at just past 10 a.m. EST. And we're here to give you guys a little bit of an update on everything Zel and what's been going on the past couple of months. Daniel, thanks for joining me.
Yes, sir.
I guess we'll lead and start by welcoming our latest addition to sort of the phase 2 core team, and that is going to be Jeremy Anderson. Some of you may know him from Raven, and he's joining Zel Technologies as a lead architect. He's been working on a lot of the ZelNodes stuff, as many of you may know if you keep an eye on GitHub. And he's recently been the lead behind the design and development of Benchmark D and deterministic ZelNode system, which we'll talk a little bit more about and release a paper on when it gets closer to release. So the agenda for this meeting is a little chat about ZelFlux and the Kamata network upgrade. We have some updates on the roadmap. I remember some chat in Discord about change the name of roadmap to something else. Submissions are welcome, please. We've also had the release of ZelCore v3, and in the next 24 hours, we'll have another version of ZelCore come out. Nothing major in that, but the v3 was pretty big, as many of you would have seen on desktop. Daniel's going to give us a Zel Labs update and also talk to us about marketing, and we'll loop back together to talk about the foundation, as it's that time of year again. So, Dan, do you want me to handle the recent team announcements?
Yeah, so Miles, can you hear me all right?
Yeah, we can hear you good.
It's been a wild, crazy past several months, and here's some of the items that we have really worked on, success points for the project. So, I mean, obviously the glaring one was the release of V3 on desktop, and very soon for mobile. I think you were saying within the next couple of weeks, right, Miles?
Yeah, right now we have mobile V3 in alpha, and we'll see beta hopefully in the upcoming week. So we should see mobile out plan was end of January, but we'll see it probably in February.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to it on my phone with my greedy little hands. The addition, a major addition to, really usability and onboarding new users was the addition of the CoinSwitch's Crux ID and the successful marketing and PR rollout campaign that we had. We really had, and we'll talk a little bit about statistics later, but a very successful rollout with that. One of the major announcements we just had was the recent addition to fiat onboarding through InstaSwap. Now, the awesome thing about that fiat onboarding ramp is the fact that we will eventually integrate that into ZelCore. So our goal is to be able to purchase directly from fiat right out of ZelCore with their API. So that's on our upcoming roadmap. With
it's about a month or two out, right? According to that team.
Yeah. Yep. Miles talked a little bit about the addition of Jeremy to the core team, and we're really looking forward to working with him. Very talented guy, brings a lot to the project. He has been very influential in the deterministic, and did I say that right, Miles? Deterministic.
Yeah, the new deterministic ZelNodes system. Yep.
Yep. So real big positive adding him on. The release of ZelFlux and ready for the upcoming Kamata. How do you say that, Miles? I mean,
don't worry, I'll handle it. So
who's coming up with the naming conventions here? But anyway,
it is me. The Kamata network upgrade. Yeah.
Kamata network upgrade. So we're looking forward to that upgrade, and Miles is going to talk a little bit more in depth about that here in a couple slides as well. Listening to the community and obviously input from our recent survey, which was very successful. Several hundred people participated in the survey around ZelCore and ZelCore Plus. We'll talk about the results of that here in a bit. But one of the major things that came back was the reduction of the ZelCore Plus. So we moved that down to a solid $5. If you can't mind $5 worth of Zel and pay for your ZelCore Plus, then I don't know what to do for you. It's a great add-on to a platform, and if you're using Exchange or the portfolio aspect or the additional wallets, it's really good add. ZelCore announced a working partnership with Hashrate OS mining operation. This is I'm very excited about this because we have talked about in the Zel project being the one-stop shop, and our core base really is miners. So being able to maintain and check and set up your rigs right out of ZelCore, that's going to be pretty awesome. And Miles, I don't know if you want to add anything onto that, but that partnership is going to be a real big
I'm looking forward to it. Yeah. I've been working a little bit closely with the Hashrate guys, and all I can say is I've seen great things from their team. Met up with one of the guys when I was in Ireland just a month ago or so. And I see a lot of the same sort of values and kind of vision that we have over at Zel over there on their team. So yeah, we look forward to working together closer. And as you said, miners are really a core piece to both Zel, but also ZelCore, as it's it was really a one-stop shop for every POW coin back in early 2018. So definitely a good partnership for us to have, and definitely look forward to working closer with them into the future.
People that like to read between the lines should listen to the next statement, and that is that Zel Technologies and ZelCore will continue to look at partnerships that make sense to add to the platform. And that doesn't necessarily mean it'll be all crypto. So we're looking at a lot of different things and a lot of different ways that we can continue to develop the platform. So there's going to be some exciting stuff coming down the road. But again, we believe that logical partnerships like this one are real good adds. So. And with that, we also added Veriblock, and we are in the process of working with them and their pop mining. I'm not 100% familiar on what the pop mining process is, but I suggest you go check it out at veriblock.org. Really good, great bunch of guys to work with, and we enjoyed that process.
Yeah, I believe it's core to their actual reason for existing, right? It's a additional verification method or finality, something like that, to do with TX verification. And I think you can use BTC's hash rate for a smaller chain through POP, if I am correct. Need to look into that though. But yeah, looking forward. We started working with them, I want to say back in, must have been what, September?
Yep, that's about right.
So yeah, we're looking forward to getting POP in finally. I remember looking at it back then, but there's always a lot happening in the space. And one that you missed there that I think we'll touch on later on is Zel Labs pools and the launch of Zcoin, which was a great addition by the team of Wrench and Jeff Vader. And yeah, we look forward to how that's developing. Really, Labs has been hugely successful, especially pools. And there's a lot of touch points to go over there.
Amen.
So I'll hit on the recent updates for ZelCore. As you can see, and those of you that have auto update turned on would have got the update recently. A massive overhaul built from the ground up, basically. So that's allowed us to provide a much smoother user experience across the board, less resource intensive on your machine, and also add additional features and creature comforts. As you would have seen there, that mobile view is available on desktop actually, so you can kind of leave it as like a news reader, or you can leave it open as a little wallet. Go ahead.
That is my absolute favorite feature. So props to Lumi on the vision of that, but being able to drag that to the mobile, almost mobile feel has been fantastic. So if you haven't checked it out, do it.
Yeah, it's really useful, especially if you have multiple windows open and you got one monitor. It's nice to just reduce the size of it down all the way to that and it still be completely fully functional. And yeah, as you can see, the Exchange interface has been cleaned up quite a bit. You've got multiple views. This only shows one of them, but you've also got a stacked order book, so it gives you options. So does Coin Overview. And we would recommend, the reason we really dropped ZelCore Plus was not because we wanted to drive more subs to it. The real, ZelCore Plus was getting good traction. The real reason for dropping the price of ZelCore Plus is making it more accessible, because as designers and developers, we were really happy with the way the ZelCore Plus UIs turned out. And it's kind of a shame not to have people use it as widely as possible. So that's why we moved it down to the $5 price. But yeah, it gives you access to stuff like these Exchange interfaces, which work quicker, or just as quick, if not quicker, than the web-based Exchanges interfaces. It's very snappy, to say the least. So yeah, this kind of touches on a few of the points, but basically we have a light mode that was added, as well as a dark mode, completely rebuilt UI UX experience, as mentioned. It's been built from the ground up, where we've took each component and really gone over it. A lot of code optimization, leaves it feeling much snappier. And yeah, we're working on making ZelCore smarter now. You're going to hear that as a thing, as well as full node being massively optimized by, shout out to Volta, for example, who's done great work. You would have known that he's done a lot of work on Zelmate, but his recent work on ZelCore full node has really brought it up to be the best full node wallet in the space, arguably. So yeah, we're excited for the upcoming features. We've got stuff like onboarding planned to make it easier for users to get set up. One of the things is, right, we have this account system that's a little bit unique, so making that easier for a new user to understand is important. So that's one thing that we're working on. And we've also going to have automatic switching of backend services. That means if a backend does go down, users are much less likely to see an error. Instead, it's going to automatically switch for them to another backend. So that guarantees uptime, and it proves the already 99% uptime we have across the board. So looking forward to that. Daniel?
Yep. Can you move the slide forward?
Sure. This is just a little more about the next network upgrade. It's not network upgrade? Oh, do excuse me. It is 1 a.m. and I've been going since 5 a.m. the previous day.
Melees.
Yeah, it's been a long day. So the next ZelCore update, version 3.0.1, which is coming to desktop in the next 24, 48 hours. We've just smoothed out a few cosmetic bugs, text not clipping right, stuff like that. Optimized full node view after some user feedback, updated full node binaries to support upcoming network forks and upgrades such as Raven coins without any restricted assets, and some new features and optimizations again in full node as mentioned. The upcoming network upgrade. I think I'll continue on through this part, Daniel.
Yes, sir.
So the Kamata network upgrade, not the Kami OAS something. The Kamata network upgrade will include the official launch of ZelFlux on all ZelNodes. Zel Benchmark D, that's the benchmarking tools that should weed out any people that are trying to share resources on a single server. Some people trying to be sneaky and not provide the full computational resources needed. So Benchmark D is going to do checks systematically to verify that the hardware is actually available, and we'll actually finally be able to utilize that after ZelFlux. That puts us at ZelNodes going live just about a year ago from when Flux will launch, which I'm pretty happy with, and I think the rest of the team is too. It's been great work to build it up from the ground up and to get to the point that we have so quickly with the team that we do have. Also, as part of Kamata, we have the deterministic ZelNodes, courtesy of Jeremy's great work. This is going to bring stability to the network. Instead of being peer-to-peer communications, all communications for ZelNodes is done on-chain, which is a good use of the blockchain, actually. And yeah, upstream to latest Zcash. It might be a little further along to 2.1 point something. Fixes and improvements to block submission and other functions, as mentioned below, and improved daemon responses. Daemon acts quicker, faster. That's kind of how we've also optimized ZelCore so much because of that. And those are for the RPC calls that it gives out. More data for less calls, just speeds things up generally. And yeah, just various fixes and improvements. Excuse me. So yeah, the initial intention to release the network upgrade and activate was around late December. Obviously, holiday period kind of made that infeasible. So we've been running testnet now for 2 months or so, 2.5 even. And we're going to plan for activation in March 2020. So we're about, what's that, 6 weeks or so out, 6 to 8 weeks out. The network upgrade is basically ready. So we're just testing a little further, a little more vigorously, as there's a lot of changes coming into this. So yeah, binaries will be available, as mentioned, 2 to 3 weeks before the activation, giving people time to upgrade their ZelNodes, as long as all infrastructure, ZelCore, ZelMate, and all the explorers that we provide. More information will be released soon, such as final set of release notes and features. Yep, that'll come out with the binaries. So you can expect to see it in the next 4 to 6 weeks. Yep.
Little back, one slide back, Miles. Just a little emphasis on that. 2 to 3 weeks to make sure that your nodes are up to date. So we want to make sure that we communicate that effectively, and that if you are you need to be prepared for that. So, get ready, pay attention. We're going to move very quickly through this upgrade. The major question that's been asked by the community many, many times is, when are we going to be able to utilize the computational network? Well, the answer is here. So you guys need to participate as well. Make sure your gear is ready. Make sure you're ready. And yeah, it's going to be fun. This will be a really exciting time.
For sure. Looking forward to it.
Miles, you got a question about Benchmark D.
Okay, Miles, will Benchmark D be part of the ZelFlux release? Yes, it will. ZelFlux has been out for a while. It's been open source since its inception, and it's been kind of ready to go since around October, November time of 2019. But yeah, Benchmark D is going to be part of this Kamata network upgrade. So ZelFlux, deterministic ZelNodes, and Benchmark D, as well as upstream Zcash code and fixing improvements across the board. It's a nice fresh daemon. We're looking forward to getting this out. And we'll talk a little bit more about ZelFlux in a little bit. But Daniel, I think it's over to you to hit on some of these points for Zel Labs.
Zel Labs has been working pretty much nonstop through the holidays as well. So big props and shout out to Crypto Wrench and his team that have really worked hard on this. So this has been a real focus of ours. Currently, there are 8 pools and more slated in the upcoming months. We have Zel, Zcoin, Raptorium, Bitcoin Z, Raven, Pexa, Genix, and more as we add continue over the next few months. If you have a project that could possibly align with us, I suggest you throw it in the suggestion area. We've been listening to input from people. Future plans for the platform are node monitoring, increased UI and UX development. I can't imagine what else we're going to add to this UX or UI. If you're mining on Zel Labs, you have probably all the creature comforts that you could ever imagine in a pool. It's really awesome. They've done a real good job with that. Partnerships with other projects to develop rapid pool deployment within ZelFlux. So one of the big things is we have a very large computational network that's getting ready to tune up. How do we utilize that? How can we stand up pools quickly on that infrastructure? Keep costs down, especially for micro projects that are just starting out. All the proceeds from the full pool fee go back to the Zel project for revenue generation. And you can see what came out in the last patch, which was 0.2.3, access to pool list menu, fixed displays, rebalancing panel. You guys can see all the little bullet points there. So yeah, really impressed. Miles, next slide.
It's been great work from the guys.
Yeah. Very, very, very sexy UI. So advance the slide.
Sure.
So that's just a little graphic, a little snapshot of what we're looking at, and then the next slide is kind of the there's Zcoin, the addition of Zcoin. So I believe correct me if I'm wrong, Miles. I believe we became one of the larger Zcoin pools pretty quickly. I mean, it's been quite impressive. This is the opportunity to continue to keep developing out on different platforms. But the big thing is, as people begin to shift over to Labs pools, they begin to recognize Zel as a very advanced project as well. So working with other projects to bring back the attention and the focus to Zel is important to us, and then we'll keep working on that. Next slide. And that's the new UI. So that's actually it looks great. I mean, it's very intuitive. It's very easy to use. We talk a lot about creating that bridge for new users. And this is really, honestly, a new miner coming into the space. There's nothing here that you want to see all this stuff. So minimum payments, overviews, block time, confirmation, you name it, it's all there. So pretty excited for that. So thanks again to the Zel Lab Pool guys. And if you have any questions or suggestions, you can reach out to Crypto Wrench. He's always interested in hearing suggestions.
He's always around. I don't know how or when he sleeps.
He doesn't.
I'm convinced of that, yeah. All right, Dan, some more information from you. I want to hear about marketing and the PR work that's been going on. I know we've had some new additions to the teams that have been working on that from the community, right?
Yeah, so we've spent a lot of time in this this lull around the holidays, really focusing in on marketing and PR and what that's going to look like moving forward. Next slide. So we want to welcome SMR91 as our onto the marketing and PR development team. We are continuing to work on new marketing and PR strategy for Q1. Part of that is identifying areas where we can continue to keep improving and cross-platform development. So, how do we develop on not only Twitter, but, all of our platforms in one? So we're looking at some different centralized applications that will help us with those engagements and that management. The engagements have been at an all-time high. Part of that is really the success of the Crux Pay, Zel Crux quick address campaign. we had over 200,000 retweets and reaches in that campaign alone. We added several thousand users to both accounts. A lot of profile visits, and SMR 91 worked very diligently to create secondary marketing programs while that was going on. So we've really had, from a marketing and PR in a bear market, we've really had some success with this new approach. And one of those things that we're looking at in the future is analytical models that we want to create. Zel prides itself with not garnering user information. So, we're not going to capture your user information and kind of extort it or use it. But there are voluntary opt-in processes where we want to create analytics that we can continue to keep developing the platform. So one of those is we want the creation of a Zel newsletter. So if you haven't signed up for the Zel newsletter, head over to the website and you'll see down at the bottom, you can put your email address in. This is all opt-in. And part of the ongoing thought process behind this is to create analytical models and AdWord campaigns and things on Google that will really help develop. So we need about 50 subs, and I'm looking at it now. It's a little bit more than 50 subs to complete our monetization for the YouTube platform. I'm asking the community from my heart, please go out, subscribe, get us to 1,000.
The thing about it isn't the monetization as in, hey, we'll get monetary value from 1,000 views, 100 views, 300 views. It's actually that YouTube will actually push our videos as suggested. That's the major piece there. Then that's what's important. We doubt we're going to have much revenue from YouTube, but the point is getting into the suggestion feed, getting into the all-important kind of, because majority of YouTube traffic is going through that suggested video feed. Once somebody's on YouTube, that's what they go through. So it's that's a really key important part to get into. And right now, ZelCore won't be showing up there unless you start at Zel. So yeah, please
get the final push, guys. Let's just do it. Let's get it done.
That'll be helpful. Right. Appreciate it. That's a great way to contribute to marketing for people that ask about marketing all the time.
Help wanted. Zel team is looking for several positions. So, we continue to keep growing. We continue to keep adding pieces to the project. And with that, we're going to need some additional resources. So currently, we're looking for an assistant to the core team. It would be a paid position to assist the team with general duties as assigned. That would include booking meeting, customer service relations, project communication. You must have strong written skills. It's important because I have no strong written skills. So not at all.
That's half the reason the meeting was delayed, guys. I had to fix the presentation.
Well, I don't know if I go that far, but we're also looking for a full stack developer. So if you're somebody that is looking to work on an awesome project and be paid in crypto, let's look no further than the Zel ecosystem. Must have experience with JavaScript, Java, C++, and other
or
languages.
One of those areas. If you're a really experienced JavaScript developer, and JavaScript's misspelled there, but if you're a really experienced JavaScript developer, probably autocorrect. If you're a really experienced JavaScript developer, then obviously, whether your specialties lie in different frameworks than Vue, or maybe it's Angular or React, still, we can definitely use your skills, and we'd be happy to have you on. We've recently had quite a few developers joining the team, sort of on the quiet side, and we're looking forward as these trial periods go forward, announcing them to the community. And we've also had quite a few applicants recently, but that doesn't mean that we're not looking for more. Devs are always in short supply, so please do reach out if you'd like to contribute to any part of the project, whether that's ZelFlux, ZelCore, maybe expanding Zel ID, or core Zel blockchain stuff.
If Trunk was sitting beside me right now, he'd say you don't necessarily have to have experience in blockchain. You have to have experience as a good developer. So we're willing to train and work with somebody that's got all the we want more of an eager person that really wants to learn. So that's good.
Yeah, a college degree is not necessary. If you have a good work experience, you can provide your previous projects, whether they're professional or sort of homemade. That's always a great sort of piece for us to review in a hiring process. So yeah, we're always looking for developers. Please do reach out if you're out there. Even good developers, everyone, please.
Yeah. So the business development team is looking for members for the strategic implementation and investor relations. We're looking for somebody that understands VC, legal structure, and other business functions. So essentially, this would be a assistant or a teammate to myself and Parker and the business development team. So we need people that have business acumen. So if you know somebody that's looking, please let us know. And there will be a referral bonus if you refer someone to us and we end up bringing them onto the team, you get 1,000 Zel. So can't ask for more than that. Mine with your mind, find some opportunities, get good developers on the project. As we talked about the Mind with Your Mind, the Zel Foundation is going to, in 2020 is the year of the foundation. We're going to ramp this thing up and we're going to get running with it. So one of the very first things that we're going to do is Mind with Your Mind, Zel Foundation Rewards Program. Zel Foundation will begin to offer content creators pay-as-you-go reward options. This is not a bounty program. This is content and media contributors that are going to work effectively to create content in a professional and well-rounded manner. You can submit in the new contributor channel. The better the content, the more you make. There is not a fixed rate that we're going to put on these. If somebody goes out and makes a 20-minute video on how to mine Zel, then they're obviously going to, get more than somebody that did a 4-minute, blurb about it. That'll be looked at each one. Content creation can be written, it can be video, it can be audio. Podcasts are okay. Medium and other published platforms, they're good too. A small referral bonus will be issued to anyone that will book Zel, the Zel team, or a member of the Zel team on any well-known podcasts or platforms. So we'll do a little. The ultimate goal is to get the community involved in the marketing and PR process, and this is a great way to get it started. All media needs to be approved by the community leader and or a core member. Subpar or rush content will not be rewarded. So you can't run out there, write down 2 paragraphs about Zel and expect to get paid for it. You need to make sure that you clear it, ask before it's created. Post your ideas in the hashtag media contribution area prior to creation. And make sure you get guidance. There's particular things that we're looking for. And, I just talked to a couple interns the other day that are going to start content creation. So I think this is a great way to get the community involved. Mind with Your Mind. I don't know if people know this, but Vitalik, this was one of the very first things he did in crypto was he developed content and he was paid in BTC. And so now you guys can all be like Vitalik and develop content and get paid in Zel. So you can obviously post with more questions in that new media contributions area.
Great.
I'm going to keep rolling with the Zel community update. So the new Zel community, like I said, the community, the foundation are really rolling. Zel now has a new community leader. So Kai,
you've never been able to pronounce that. Have you?
Kai, no, I have not. Kayubai or
no, just not doing it very well, are you?
But just what is it, Miles?
Do you want me to save you?
There you go.
Okay, you pronounce it. I'm scrolling up a DM here. You pronounce it. Where is the message that?
See, you're no help either. You're making fun of me. You're no help.
I'm pretty sure.
We'll come back to that one. I'm going to skip. You're going to keep going. The Zel Foundation will create new grants.
It's pronounced Lucas. It's pronounced Lucas.
Oh, so it's Lucas. Okay. I don't think that's it, but okay. We'll be creating grants for developers on the Flux platform on release. Over the next several months, the Zel Foundation will on the Discord channel will be reactivated and we will begin new granting process. One of the areas where we want to get out is a transparency report. It's that time of the year. We're going to start moving funds again, and we are going to make sure that we publicize that in the transparency report where all that foundational resources are going. With the network update, the foundation will begin to issue first mover grants for developers moving onto the platform for code. So get your coding skills ready. We're going to also offer free access. So, there will be a monetary process of developing on Flux, but our goal is to have that get as many people developing on the platform as quickly as possible. So the foundation is going to step in and provide grants and or access to the platform for free. And we are targeting Q3 to bring on new board member, the first board members to the foundation. If you know somebody that's qualified, please DM me. These are individuals that are, we're looking, we have a couple that we have so far. We're looking for business leaders. We're looking for people that can provide insight and input as the foundation continues to keep growing. Next slide. This is just a reminder. If you want to donate to the Zel community, we had in the past received a couple large donations, and we were grateful for those. They helped us with the development of Flux, and also kept down the need that we had to use the foundational resources. We have a very vibrant community, and there's no reason why each one of us shouldn't be looking at the continued growth of the platform. So, dig deep, throw some donations in there, and because really I need some coffee, and Miles probably he's drinking $5 lattes down there in Japan. So we really need to help him out.
It's just not true. I've actually reduced my coffee to $1.30 from 7-Eleven now.
There you go. That's my boy.
Adapt and evolve.
Yes, that's right. And then the next slide is just you want to advance. It's just a reminder of the donations page. So exchange platform updates. So Zel is now listed on several top exchanges. So we've got Bit4X, Hotbit, you name it, Stex. There's plenty of places to trade Zel. Questions have been asked about other platforms. Applications are continued to be submitted to new platforms. Over the next several months, we will add an exchange into ZelCore that will have Zel available for trade. Miles knows one of my asks, and what I continue to keep asking for is we want one of those larger exchanges to be integrated into ZelCore, and I want to be able to trade Zel in ZelCore. I don't really care about trading much anything else. That's what I want to do. So they are assuring me that we're getting there to that point. So recommendations for any new platforms are always welcome. I will tell you, community members have been very, very active with reaching out to exchanges and being very engaging. We do have several that are engaged at this particular point in time. They were direct referrals from people within the community who wanted to see Zel listed on their exchange. So please reach out to those exchanges and continue to keep champion for us. Concentration on fiat gateways to purchase Zel in the upcoming months are essential. So one of the very first was InstaSwap as a quick exchange, but we want to see other larger exchanges that have fiat on ramps. We want to work toward getting Zel listed on those as well. Focus on in-app fiat purchases with current trusted partners will be developed over the next several quarters. We talked about that with InstaSwap and what we're doing there. And the launch of the Escher platform, which is the iterative capital fiat gateway in ZelCore for instant fiat gateway is slated for Q2. So we've worked with the iterative capital guys for quite a while. Love them. They are in the process of working on their Escher app, which for all intents and purposes, I think could be, and I dare not say who, but it could really rival some of the larger players in the space. Next slide, Miles. On to you, buddy.
It's back to me. Sorry about the bumbling here with the live stream. Zoom is not ideal for muting and unmuting yourself. It keeps making me click when I'm not clicking and not type when I'm trying to type. So back to me, ZelFlux. Looking forward to ZelFlux, really. It's been a thing of a labor of love, I think, for Tadeusz over the last few months, and it's going to be really exciting to finally get it out and live on the network. So an overview of ZelNodes and Flux. ZelNodes, as you guys know, give you a short overview for anyone that doesn't know, but ZelNodes are an enterprise-grade computational network of nodes run by individual operators, meaning it's decentralized, right? Operators are incentivized by receiving a portion of each Zel block. 25% of each Zel block gets broken down to two node operators. 3 tiers of hardware and collateral. Sorry, guys, it's been 20-something hours since I've been awake. Okay, 3 tiers of hardware and collateral requirements are currently instituted. Basic, Super, and BAMF, as you guys know, and we have over 1,000 ZelNodes running at the moment. ZelNodes are physical hardware. Flux is kind of what you can see as an operating system of sorts, which links all these centralized ZelNodes together and manages the applications that can run on them. Also, as part of the Kamata network upgrade and part of ZelNodes and ZelFlux, active benchmarking and network reporting will be built in to help ensure operators have an easier job of meeting base requirements and uptime requirements. And right now we're building Flux kind of centrally, and it's going to spread out, right? So it's been open source since day one. Control of ZelFlux itself is with the Zel team, and we're working ourselves and with partners to get applications deployed. Eventually, we want it to be more of an ETH or EOS type system, potentially, with a good portion of the network being available to almost like a gas-like model, potentially, or something improved upon that. And then maybe a portion being reserved for enterprise solutions. So you can run basically anything that you can Dockerize, talking to developers here. So you can imagine most applications being able to run on Flux. That doesn't necessarily have to mean just blockchain applications either. Anything that could benefit from decentralization. So a little more of an overview on Flux. It's an MEVN stack application, meaning it is Mongo Express Vue and Node.js built. So using JS as a base there and MongoDB to keep track of things. It allows Dockerization of apps, just using Doc for that, literally, to run on ZelNodes. That could be anything, as I mentioned. It's open source, again, as mentioned, and we're open to community development. And we've already had a few people coming forward with some ideas. So we're looking forward to contributions coming in post activation and release. This is going to allow users as well, which is a cool feature of Flux, to update their Zel node through a web UI and potentially also inside of ZelCore. Makes it easier for operators. They don't have to necessarily get in with an SSH access and manually upgrade, even though we do have a nice update script. It's great to just have a one-click button, right? And then easy login utilizing Zel ID to allow you to log in to your Zel node via ZelCore. So the changes the Zel operators to watch out for, and this is a major network upgrade. Like I said, the timeline's looking for March activation, daemon releasing soon, and it's going to be a full set of release notes then. Operators are going to be required to run ZelFlux and benchmark D to receive rewards. If you don't, or you try and cheat, you're not going to be on the network. You won't be receiving rewards. So we are aware of a few kind of workarounds people have been trying to do, where they're sharing resources between hardware, right? Benchmarking at the start and then trying to avoid actually having the hardware required. So it'll be interesting to see what happens to the ZelNode numbers once activation goes live, and how operators or some, I'd say, quote unquote, quotation marks, companies adapt to that. But it's going to allow us to actually now know what is out there on the network and what is able to be utilized, right? And we're excited to see where that leaves us. Installation is completely automatic with scripts as always. You can manually install this, and we've got apt repos for that as well. So it shouldn't be too difficult for Zel operators to get started. If you've been able to set up a Zel node before, it's just the same thing. And then just a little more on benchmarking. Benchmarks are ran at a set time intervals to confirm hardware requirements. Results relate to the network in a signed message, and that's on chain actually. So currently nodes communicate to each other peer-to-peer, and all communications for nodes are going to be done on chain for ZelNodes and payments and benchmarking information. And that's it's actually a great move forward, and it's a good utilization of the blockchain as well, right? And obviously there's some built-in leeway. So if you have a bad benchmarking cycle, you're not going to get nuked off of the network. The aim is to keep the network up, right? It's just to try and catch the bad actors. And it's going to take a little bit of tuning. But what now we're able to do with the release of Flux is rapidly iterate. How we are able to do with ZelCore with auto update, we're kind of able to do the same thing here, where we don't feel we need to give such long notices and such long testing periods. We're kind of able to iterate quite quickly, and that's going to be great for ZelFlux, but also Zel development itself, the core daemon, and everything around it. So add some notes on the development progress of ZelFlux. A front-end web access and back-end Maven stack, as mentioned, is complete. It's been done for a few months now. Permission-based JSON API services. This is going to speak to developers here. So if anyone feels they're a little lost, don't worry. Simpler explanations are available on Medium, right? So yeah, permission-based JSON API services. So anyone can pull certain information from each Zel node, and then an operator can pull other information and controls, and the Zel team can do other operations and controls. And there's also WebSocket services, so quick relay of information, and you can see the rest of that information. But we're working on the kind of next level of things now, which will be coming post activation, so in an upgrade after Kamata. Where you'll see the sort of what we're calling central service, which is able to smartly deploy applications and decide which nodes they should be running on and where, given a set of circumstances, given a sort of set of rules to follow and what needs to be achieved. The system will be able to work out, right, this is underperforming in this region, so we need to set up a new instance there. And then also setting up the system to be able to purchase decentralized computational power with Zel. So there's a few different pieces we're still working on. This puts us in a good spot to develop forward, and we're really excited to get it out. One question that just came in is, if the Zel team controls the Flux backend, it makes it a centralized system, right? To answer that question, initially, yes, we're building it out in a sort of semi-centralized way. Now it's open source, right? But the control does lay with the Zel team. And initially, the Zel team and chosen partners are going to be able to deploy applications to the network. But that's only an iterative process. We need to then build on top of that and get to a point where it can be, completely decentralized. Arguably, a lot of the biggest quote unquote decentralized networks, you can take your pick of.
Don't name them.
I won't. You take a pick of decentralized projects that have a lot of control from a core set of, let's say developers or large stakeholders. The aim with ZelFlux and the ZelNode network is, yes, okay, we're starting in a sort of central element, but the aim is to get as decentralized as possible, as quickly as possible. So we need to build out and iterate, and that's going to be a gradual process. It's going to be a thing over a year or two. But I feel that we're starting in the right place by being able to iterate, by being able to upgrade, by being able to kind of actually deploy stuff on the network only a year after ZelNodes were launched. I think it's a great start. And being able to then move forward to a more decentralized space is obviously where we want to go. We don't want this to be a centralized computational network. That's not the point. So I hope that answers your question.
Man, if you're not excited for this stuff, I don't know what's wrong with you.
You can tell by how much I'm talking about it. I'm pretty excited, despite it being 20-something hours awake. Also, upcoming features will be domain name handling and pointing. So currently, a user would be able to kind of hack at it themselves, but the plan is to make it easier. So you can easily access your ZelNodes by going to my ZelNodes at johnappleseed.com, which is great, right? Schedule and resource manager, and you can see the rest of the things here, but better documentation, billing cycles for long-term usage, launching of an application on the network and then being able to communicate effectively together and managed effectively through an interface. It's all part of the development platform that we're building out. Dan dubbed it Jetpack, I believe. I disagree with that name. We're gonna have to figure out some better code name.
It's too cool, man. Leave it alone.
But yeah, it's an iterative process, right? We're getting to a point here where, hey, we can see this thing live on the network and it's out in the wild. And like I said, it's community based. Any developer can contribute and raise PRs to the ZelFlux repo. It's github.com/zelcache/ZelFlux. So anyone's welcome to go there and check the code, give suggestions, give PRs. Everything's welcome. So finally,
big shout out to Miles and Trunk and Frogs and everyone on the team who has really came together to kick ass on this. I mean, honestly, if you are not excited about this, this is a game changer. And, you know, big props to all those guys.
Thank you. Yeah, I'd personally say a hand to Daesh for the great work on this, on ZelFlux. And like you said, Jeremy has done an awesome job. All I've done is really coordinate. So I have to give props to Jeremy on building out the deterministic ZelNodes and the benchmark D application and lots of other great ideas that it's been bringing forward and implementing rapidly. Yeah, it's going to be great. I keep saying, it's going to be great though. And like I said, Daniel mentioned, it's exciting to get this out. It's exciting to get this live on a network of potentially 4,000 CPU cores, 12 terabytes of RAM, and 220 something terabytes of SSD storage. It's great to finally be able to actually utilize that. So the roadmap and upcoming changes. This one's quite rough. We're going to have an updated roadmap and sort of slow rebranding push, and not rebranding in the sense that there's names changing, nothing like that. And please, there's no hype around it. It's just a brand cleanup and guidelines. As we've had more designers join the team, we want to just make sure that design stays focused. But you'll see that in February. So right now, the overview of what's upcoming in Q1 and Q2. We've got V3 Mobile, obviously. V3 Desktop released in December 30th, 2019. So just in the last few days of the last decade. But it's been a decade to wait for mobile, right? But February, sorry, you guys probably had a lot of puns around that. Deterministic ZelNodes releases with the Kamata network upgrade, along with ZelFlux and Benchmark D. We've got some Zel Labs project development that Daniel will be able to talk a little bit more about.
Yep, I can take over on the last 2 points. So we want to continue to keep developing out on the Zel Labs platform. So continued cultivation with projects that are in the space, and kind of what Project Moonshot is a little bit about is to start to develop with partnerships that are in the tech community. So, you know, for those who read between the lines and they want to hear something, we continue very vocally to state that Zel Technologies is not it's not a crypto company. It's not a crypto. We are a technology-based company that looks to build infrastructure and utilize blockchain technologies. So what we're doing is we're currently in the early phases of evaluating the project overall and how we can continue to keep pushing that initiative, the initiative to move outside of the crypto space and into the technology space and align with partners that make sense. So, you know, we're excited because we believe that we probably have the best platform, multi-asset platform out there, but we believe it could be very so much more. It could be so much more. So, you know, we continue to develop that out, and as community members, we'll continue to keep sharing that information with you as we get it. But there is a serious emphasis, and Miles, you can probably reiterate this as well, a serious emphasis about really setting us apart from other platforms. And part of that may be some change. It may be some change in direction. It could be additions to to the platform that we haven't talked about in the past. So we're really excited. We're dedicated to making this the best platform out there for blockchain interface. So we really believe that we can push this beyond just a multi-asset platform and into a completely different stratosphere. So that's a little bit about kind of what Labs is working on with Moonshot and some of the other things that we're working on.
Yeah, one thing I would kind of add to that is, yes, Zel has kind of grown, the team has grown, the company has grown, the community has grown. There's kind of a lot of facets now here. And although maybe we're not making as much noise as we used to, I think we're going to turn the things up a little bit more now going into 2020 with the release of everything. It's exciting times, and it's an exciting time for the company, exciting time for Zel, the community, and the sort of foundational projects. Labs, there's a lot going on, and it's a great time. I feel like it's been a great few months, although it hasn't necessarily been such a loud few months. It's been a great few months development wise. We've had a lot of fun working on these things, and like you said, it's not that being crypto is bad, not at all, right? We started as a crypto company, very much so, but it's expanding beyond that to become more of a tech company, a blockchain tech company, but not using that for the word of hype, you know, using that as, we're a tech company, we happen to know a lot about blockchain, and here's what else we do. Yeah. Before we cut out, I'm just going to leave everyone with a word from Tadeusz, who worked on ZelFlux, as you guys heard quite a bit. Tadeusz, our CTO. His word on a comment someone made on, if Zel team controls Flux backend, it makes it centralized system, right? So the answer to that, and from Tadeusz's answer, I gave my answer. Sort of, you know, it's an iterative process. We start at one level and we try and decentralize it as much as possible. Tadeusz words it really well. He just spent a couple minutes crafting this. He says, Zel team is not controlling it. The Zel team, in quotation mark, controls the source of ZelFlux for now, and has some admin rights on ZelFlux, such as crucial ones, such as updating Flux, but still lower rights than the ZelNode operator themselves. So ultimately, the operator of the ZelNode has control of what that hardware does to a degree. Obviously, if ZelFlux tells you, and the network tells you, hey, you should be running this application, and an operator steps in, tries to turn that off, then yeah, no, that's no bueno, that's not gonna work. You'll be missing out on payouts. But what it does allow is ultimately control lays with the ZelNode operator, and it still keeps a large element of decentralization. The only reason we have it like this right now is so we can get it, as Tadeusz goes on to say, sort of a good, stable state. So anyone can join the Flux development process and sort of control the direction Flux is heading in. It is a community-driven project, right? It's open source since day one. The Zel team privileges on Flux will be reduced more and more, version by version. Now those privileges are needed so that we do not have to rely on ZelNode owners to update Flux, as we're going to have rapid upgrades and iterations. So that's Tadeusz's comments. I completely agree with those. That's a much better way of what I was trying to say. But he's had a longer rest than I have today, clearly, as I ramble on too much today. But yeah, it's by no means intended to be a centralized computational network. There'd be no point to that. It's intended to become more decentralized over time. And this is only really a necessary step to get to the end goal of it being completely decentralized and community controlled. We really see the Zel team having less and less of an influence, and there being other teams and individuals or developers that sort of start to lead that development process over the coming years. We don't see it just being the Zel team. Obviously, we're not naive to the fact that we'll have quite a large influence in that. You know, whether that's individuals such as myself, such as Tadeusz, such as Daniel, or whether that is us as a kind of unit, as a team. We're sure that the community is going to step up. There's going to be developers coming into the space that are going to be pushing the direction that Flux eventually goes in, though. Whether they're node operators, whether they're miners, whether it's developers. So yeah, to sort of clarify that note. Overall, thank you everyone for tuning in. Sorry for the slight delay on the getting started this time. Daniel, do you have any closing notes?
The only closing notes I have, Miles, are just to once again thank the community for all that they've done up to this point. You will see the community input and involvement in just how V3 was designed and was rolled out. Some of the community has been essential, and we will continue to survey and engage the community effectively moving forward. So, you know, we got the best community out there, and I truly believe that. I've been around the horn a few times and seen different communities, but I'm grateful for all of you. And you know, I'm sure I speak for Miles when I say, you know, keep up the good work as a supportive community team, because without you guys, we can't do what we're doing. So thank you again, and we look forward to working for many years to come.
Amen. Thank you, everybody. Good morning, good evening, good night.
That was a good little good morning, good evening, good night. I like that.
I think that's going to call it.
I think you're still
3,
recording,
2,
yeah.
1. Thank you, everybody.